Alright, today we're going to talk about dimensional analysis. Dimensional analysis is the math that we use in chemistry, and it's really just a fancier term for unit conversions. And there are 4 steps to a surefire way of solving a dimensional analysis problem. Step 1 is draw a map. Step 2 is write down the lonely number with the unit. Step 3 is draw parentheses with units. Step 4 is fill parentheses with a true statement. I'm going to give you a minute to write down those steps. Go ahead and pause your video so that you can write down those steps. Alright, now we're going to go through those steps one at a time to show you what I'm talking about. So, this is going to be a one-step dimensional analysis problem. Sorry for the confusing nomenclature there. You're still going to use all 4 steps. This is just only going to require one conversion. We'll talk about different conversions later, so really just one parenthesis is what this is going to be. Alright, so first step, draw a map. The question is, how many inches are in 1.8 feet? So our map is going to be telling us what we're starting with and what we're going to. And we're starting with 1.8 feet. We're starting with our known value. So, our map, we're going from feet to inches, because we know how many feet and we want to know how many inches are in that many feet. Our lonely number is the only number we're given. In these problems, you will always be given just a single number. So 1.8 feet, 1.8 feet. To start off the math portion, you use your lonely number, 1.8 feet. Now here come the conversions. So we write down the lonely number with unit. Next, we're going to draw parentheses with units. So we draw parentheses. We're going to put feet on the bottom so that we can cancel out those feet. So 1 foot there, feet there. And 12 inches on top. This is called a truth statement. We know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So we can cancel out feet and go 2 inches by writing this truth statement, 12 inches in 1 foot. Then all you have to do, anything that's above this line right here, so anything in the numerator gets multiplied, anything in the denominator gets divided. Fortunately, we just have a 1 in the denominator. Dividing by 1 doesn't change your answer. So it just becomes 1.8 times 12 equals 21.6 inches in 1.8 feet. You can pause the video here to write down that math. I'm going to move on to the next step in a second. Alright, this is now a 2-step problem, so we'll need 2 parenthetical statements. But for solving these, we always use our 4-step system. Step number 1 is draw a map. We're given years, and we want to figure out how many hours are in 0.6 years. So we're going from years to hours. And our lonely number, the only number we're given, 1.6 years. There's 1.6 years. So now we're going to start our math off with 0.6 years. 0.6 years, because we have years in our lonely number, we're going to need years on the bottom of the first fraction to cancel them out. And there we are, 1 year. Now we can't go directly from years to hours. I don't happen to know that conversion, but I do know a way to break down years to get us closer to hours. I could break years down into days. In 1 year, there are 365 days. Now, because we have days up top, we need days on the bottom of the next one to cancel them out. So, our units will be days. Now, I do know how to go from days to the hours that we eventually want to get to. There are 24 hours in 1 day. 24 goes on top. You multiply 0.6 by 365 by 24 divided by 1, which won't change our answer. 0.6 times 365 times 24 equals 5,256 hours in 0.6 years. Take a second to copy that down or re-watch it. I'm going to move on to the next problem. You can pause it at any point in time. Okay, this is now a 4-step problem. How many seconds are in 1.2 weeks? So, first thing we'll do is draw a map. Our map goes from weeks to seconds because we know how many weeks we have and we're trying to get to seconds. The next thing we do is identify the lonely number. Our lonely number, 1.2 weeks. So we're going to start off our math down here. Oops, let's see. Hold on a second, we're experiencing technical difficulties. Alright, same problem, but here we are now again. How many seconds are in 1.2 weeks? So, our map, as we stated, going from weeks to seconds. Our lonely number, 1.2 weeks. So we have 1.2 weeks starting us off. Because we have weeks in our lonely number, weeks is going to have to be on the bottom of our first parenthetical statement. So we've got a week there. I can't go directly from weeks to seconds, so I'm going to need to break it down a couple times. I can go from weeks to days. There are 7 days in 1 week. That is a true statement, so we can go inside our parentheses. Because I have days up top here, I need to have days on the bottom here. So we have a day down there. I don't know how many seconds are in a day, so I need to break day down a little further. So I do know that there are 24 hours in one day, so that's what I'm going to use. Now because I have hours up here, hours are going to need to go on the bottom of my next parenthetical statement. So we've got an hour there. Again, I don't know how many seconds are in an hour, but I do know how many minutes are in an hour, and that gets me closer to seconds. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Next step, because minutes are here, minutes are going to need to go on the bottom of the next one. So I have 1 minute there. I know how many seconds are in a minute. There are 60 seconds in 1 minute. The beauty of this is that because these are on the bottom, weeks will cancel weeks, days will cancel days, hours will cancel hours, minutes will cancel minutes, and the units we'll be left with are the units we want, which are seconds. So now, I multiply everything out. 1.2 times 7 times 24 times 60 times 60 gives me the final answer of 725,760. Now, don't get caught up on the fact that we always have ones on the bottom here. That is going to change. So I'm going to do one last problem where that changes. I'm going to have to just make it up because I didn't actually do one earlier. So we are going to go from 425 seconds to minutes. Okay, so that's our map. Our word problem would have probably said something like, how many minutes do I have if I have 425 seconds? But we're just going to start with the map. So, my lonely number, (425 seconds). Alright, so I'm going to start off down here. I have 425 seconds. Give myself some room to work. Because I have seconds right here, I'm going to need to put seconds on the bottom here. So these are also seconds. And I want to go to minutes, and I know a conversion for minutes, so I can put minutes up top here. Next step, in every 1 minute there are 60 seconds, so now there is no longer a 1 on the bottom, but a 60, and so my final answer will be 425 divided by 60, which is 14.16 minutes for a final answer. So a 1 does not always go on the bottom. It just depends on what units you have. So the safest bet would be to draw the units first, seconds and minutes, and then figure out, oh, in 1 minute I have 60 seconds. Thanks very much. Come in if you have any questions.